Hi everyone, Therese here. Happy September! It's September 2nd, and the entire world has officially now gone through the full moon, which happened late in the evening last night and early in the morning for most places today. So it was a really potent full moon. Potent. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to keep my thoughts about it positive. It was really intense, and with it came a lot of highly charged energy. We have high levels of geomagnetic activity right now. The level is so high that the Schuman Resonance, the machines that record the Schuman Resonance, have blacked out. They're reading nothing. It's very weird. Like the places I go to learn about what's the Schumann is doing are like, we don't know. Like the if you've seen one of my earlier posts today, the graph that I shared, it's just like activity, and there was a lot of activity yesterday, I should add. So let me see. Sunday we were at 7, very low. Monday we hit 51, which is a high spike of activity, and then today it's like nothing. It's blackout. You might be noticing symptoms from that. So when we have high levels of electromagnetic activity on the earth, we feel it in our body. These are the ascension symptoms. So remember, this is higher levels. Those are my kids playing outside. Higher levels of solar energy coming in, which, by the way, kids and animals definitely reflect that. So if you've noticed that people seem more precious than normal or are kind of acting off, now you know why. So again, high levels of electromagnetic energy coming from the sun. The sun is shooting out photon particles, massive amounts. There's some like coronal ejections. Like there was one that happened, I think, possibly yesterday or Sunday, that we sort of felt, and there's another one they say that is coming, which is more earth directed, which we'll really feel. So I don't know yet because I can't see the measurements of what's going on, but I've talked to many people who are feeling those symptoms. Some of the symptoms can be, some people feel jittery, some people feel like nervous. Today I felt very nauseous. You could feel lightheaded, dizzy, have trouble sleeping. It affects people's health differently. So you might notice what your energy has felt like yesterday and today and see. Now, here's an interesting thing that I've noticed is we're getting used to so many of these high level frequency spikes from the earth that on the days that it's low, I also feel it now too, where we didn't really feel that before. So her baseline was 7.8, I believe, and on Sunday she was at 7, and that was like, I felt like I was just dragging on the floor. You know those like TikTok things where people are like screeching across the wood floors? That's what it felt like for me. So how are you noticing that? Are you noticing now that you're actually getting accustomed to the higher frequency energy? Anybody here noticing that yet? I definitely feel better when there's more of a higher frequency coming up through the earth. Today, however, I feel like the intensity was a new level of intensity. So again, it's kind of like climbing a mountain for us. As the intensity of the energy comes in, it's like you have to get used to, when you climb a mountain, right? You have to get used to new levels of altitude. And you have to do that slowly, otherwise you could get altitude sickness. And some people still feel a little nauseous as they climb the mountain to the next level. Well, I feel like the earth is doing that, and we're adjusting to that. And it's going to keep, she's going to keep doing this as the sun increases its frequency towards us. So I just want to give you a heads up about that in case you're feeling it, because it really does affect people emotionally on levels that they're like, most of the time we're unaware until the frequency itself settles, and then we're like, what was that? So I asked the team what message they wanted me to talk about today before I did karma cards. And what it says, the card I got, this is from the Star Seed Oracle, which I love. But it says Earth pulsing, which is literally what we're talking about here. So what they want us to know is when these increases come in, when we're experiencing more of this electromagnetic energy, it's important to slow down. You're going to probably, if you're like me, want to push through and do the things you plan to do. You have to remember you're adjusting to altitude, right? You're adjusting to ascension frequencies as well as geomagnetic frequencies. So you need to make sure that you're giving yourself the chance to do that. Things that you can do that help you when the earth is creating a lot of magnetic energy, right? We're moving into a more magnetic time, by the way. The magnetic field is definitely a cool feature of the future, and we have yet to really know what that means. So a couple things that we can do to really help us pace ourselves with these incoming frequencies, and there are a ton of downloads spiritually, you should know, that are also coming in. Lots of energy, lots of information coming back online, lots of cellular upgrades, lots of DNA activation, lots of past life memories and things like that. So that's part of why you want to slow down, is you want to allow yourself to move the energy through your body. So some tips on doing that. Number one, definitely get outside and be on the earth. Put some bare feet on the ground if you can. If you can't do bare feet on the ground, definitely make sure that you're out in fresh air, in nature. Get close to trees. If you can get near a lot of trees, even better. If you're lucky enough to live near water, go down to the water, get some of those negative ions, because all of this helps you process it on a like a biochemical level, which is what we need help with there. And a ton of water. Like, this is just, it's almost uncomfortable the amount of water we need to drink, because as the frequency increases, as the Earth's frequency increases, our frequency will increase. As we do that, it's like tiny, I keep seeing this, like tiny washing machines on super fast spin cycle. They're spinning so fast, faster than we're used to, which is why we have physical symptoms from this kind of energy. So that means water is spinning out of our cells so fast, which is why you may have noticed, like myself, not only are you thirsty, it's like water itself doesn't seem to quench you. I had to learn that the hard way this year, that the water alone didn't feel like it was going in deep enough. And my awesome friend Amber is here, and she is a pro at this. She totally gets it. Not only does Amber work with the body in all sorts of ways, but she's highly intuitive when it comes to the body. But we've been talking about this together, and we've noticed that it seems like the water isn't getting into the cells, and what I found for myself was I needed more hydration. I needed more electrolytes. So adding a little coconut water to my water, electrolytes. There's lots of different forms. I know Amber recommended to me adding trace minerals to my water, and that also was incredible and very helpful. And I know you can add sea salt to water. I believe some of the better sea salts to add would be pink Himalayan sea salt, because the amount of nutrients it has. Also, I think gray sea salt also works really well. But you can sprinkle a little bit of that in your water and help get those electrolytes up. You don't need a lot. It has made a huge difference, though, in the amount of hydration my body's able to hold. So we definitely need it on that cellular level. Amber, if you're still here and watching, we need to do an interview where we'll talk about the body and ascension together. Make a note. Because these are great questions here. and Carolyn, that's a great question. I don't want to assume to know the answer to that. I'd rather bring on Amber and have her teach us from her level of expertise, because she's teaching me a lot right now. So anything that helps you on a cellular level get more hydration, it's very important. Sleep, of course sleep is important, but even sleep during the day. So no, the people are saying that, what about, the fact that the Schumann or the electromagnetic field is actually causing me not to be able to sleep. So this is one of those times where, if you have the opportunity and your body says, I'd like to sleep, no matter what time of day it is, I would honor that feeling if possible. I understand, like, if you're in your car driving, that's not a great time to take a nap, or if if you're at work and you can't take a nap, I understand. But we definitely want to, if the body says I need sleep and it's some weird time, see if you can honor that. Even 20 minutes is highly restorative. A lot of times too, what's happening is that what we can't process consciously in terms of spiritual downloads, the subconscious mind can process. It can absolutely process it. So a lot of times our subconscious minds will be like, you know what, this is a big download coming in. Let's put you to sleep so that we can fully integrate that download into the system. Some downloads are just too big to consciously unpack. Another thing that I absolutely love to help move the energy, because I've noticed that when we start to feel the downloads, particularly, we'll feel it at the top of the head in the crown chakra. Some people get headaches, frontal lobe tension. They'll feel it maybe in the third eye area. And you can feel it all around the head. Tapping it in. So if you know EFT, the emotional freedom technique, even just doing the tapping part, EFT usually has you work with mantras or sayings, but even just tapping those meridians helps to move this high levels of information through the body. So many times if you're getting headaches when the electromagnetic frequency is high, this is connected to spiritual downloads. You can try to move them, right? So if you're getting headaches and you try to take aspirin or something, you'll notice it doesn't affect the headache at all, because it's not a physical headache, it's more of an energetic block that's happening. So what you can do is kind of like try to get it to tap in, soft and pointy. I'm just sorry, I'm reading the comments. I'm gonna address that in a second. So sometimes, and I don't care now, I'll do it anywhere. When it happens, I'm like tapping it in. So you tap it into the head, you can tap around the head, you can tap it into the third eye, tap at the base of the head, right where the neck and head connect back there. Tap along there and you'll really start to feel all that energetic tension move. And as you're tapping, you can just think, move this information deeper into my body. So you're kind of imagining like all of that tightly packed info like dissolving, breaking up, and scattering through the body so it can go where it needs to go. Takeaways here are: take it slow, slower than usual, drink lots of water, get your minerals in by getting those electrolytes in, either through salt, or you can get trace mineral supplements, add it to your water. Tap the information in and sleep, and be outside as much as possible. So here's the thing, I mean, we've got a couple types of radiation happening on these days. We've got the electromagnetic radiation of appliances around us, our technology and such, and then we have solar radiation. Now, I actually, not an expert on it, I don't know much about radiation, so what the exact difference is, I can't quite pinpoint. I just feel there's a difference there. And obviously the solar radiation would be the healthier form of radiation, but just thinking about the fact that we have both going on can be really intense. So we definitely want to do everything we can to help ourselves. So some of the things that I'm doing is, this is orgonite. So orgonite is, it's a mold. How do I explain this? There's lots of information about organite. I bet a lot of people here already have their organite. It is a resin mold that's filled with crystals, and you can see that there's copper shavings in there, and then there's usually like Reiki designs, and these actually help to transmute electromagnetic energy around devices, and they're not expensive, and you can find them. There's a lot of people who make them on Etsy, by the way. So if you type in organite, this is black tourmaline, which is very good for both protecting against negativity and radiation. So black tourmaline is a great crystal for so many things. This one is super potent at, again, repelling negative energy, and it's good for EMF. One of the best is shungite, and I have these earrings on. So shungite is pure carbon. It's almost pure carbon. It's not crystal, but that means it's highly absorbent, very detoxifying, and great for absorbing electromagnetic energy around you. So those are just a couple of ways that you can kind of disperse the field and kind of create a shield for yourself. And on days like this, I always want to, I want to wear the crystals that help to kind of disperse that energy. So I hope that helps understand why September started with a real intense energy. Now it's gonna build. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you before we do karma cards. We'll get into that message. I just want to let you know that September's intensity is going to build, and we'll talk about astrologically what's happening and why it's going to build a little bit more, so that you are in that mind space of, like, instead of letting it overwhelm you, you can sort of be above it in terms of you are in the world but not of it, right? So you know it's happening, but you're not letting it take you down. Saturn is squaring Mars. Saturn is in its sign of Capricorn, which is the sign it rules, and it's in retrograde. Mars is in Aries, which is the sign that it rules. So this is a very powerful square. And when Saturn squares Mars, what it can feel like is restriction of action. Like it's hard to take action. And with Saturn in retrograde, it's all about this internal looking and breaking down and looking at the patterns in ourselves. Again, it's very much in ourselves, but it gets reflected into the outside world. So there can feel this like almost like a tight restriction in energy. And for some people, it's going to feel like it's getting harder to manage. On September 9th, so 9/9, Mars goes retrograde, and then we have 6 planets in retrograde again. Such a hard time talking tonight. 6 planets in retrograde again. When that happens, the intensity of that feeling of inability to act gets more intense, and it can create a sensation of helplessness in a person who's not aware of the energies right now, right? So part of when we see this, what we want to know, having that kind of heads up that on September 9th it's going to get more intense feeling, is that you start reserving your energy now. So it's almost like you're creating an energy piggy bank for yourself, which is why the first message today was go slow. So it feels like you can do more. Yeah, there's a lot of intensity in the atmosphere with the Earth's frequency, but I can still do it. You can, but should you? It's kind of like you have to realize we're in this marathon, right? We're running a race, and marathon runners, they always conserve energy because they know, they understand, right, that there's a distance that they're going to have to go, and they're going to need that energy later. So right now the message is conservation of personal energy. Take less, like do less, despite feeling like you could do it all, right? So look at your schedules, look at what you're putting on your plate, and see what you can remove. It's not about self-deprivation, it's about taking smaller bites in energy. As you do that, when we hit September 9th and Mars goes into retrograde, you're going to have more reserve energy to work with, or you will have set yourself up to understand that you have to slow down. The retrograde for Mars is going to last through the middle, of November. The square between Mars and Saturn will last all month. So it's really the month of September that's going to feel more intense around this. During the Mars retrograde, what we're looking at is, again, the internal review around how do we take action? What are we how do I use my energy? What am I passionate about? Like, what drives me? What compels me? Is that working for me? It's an assessment period on how we take action and reviewing ourselves, and making adjustments where we see fit, letting go of behaviors and patterns that no longer serve us, and moving into a fuller alignment with ourselves. So it is a good thing. It's just this particular window of energy is intense. So knowing that now, you can kind of go, right, now I'm going to conserve some energy. I'm going to do less than I think I have to do. And I'm going to really prioritize how I use my energy, and not try to push myself, right? So it's, again, the answer here is really about being gentle with ourselves. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. All right, now let's do karma cards. Karma card time. So for those who are new to karma cards, this is how we play. I have 3 decks here. I have the planets, the signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And what we do is, I've already asked my team in spirit, what is it that we need to know right now? And I've pulled a message. They have given me 2 sets of answers. One are in red, these are action related answers, and another set are in blue, and those are outcome. And the way that you play is you just tune in intuitively and ask yourself, do I need action related answers or outcome related answers, or both? You might want both. Reading is for today, the 2nd of September through September 9th. So we're going to take it right up to that retrograde. Man, and this is what's part of what's happening to me today is, like, my short-term memory is, like, really spotty. Okay, so while you're choosing, let me tell you the flavor of this reading. We've got Pluto, which is the first and most intense planet to go into retrograde, still in retrograde, which is all about power and the use of power, and definitely taking action. It's an action planet as well. In Pisces, the last full moon, which happened late last night, early this morning, that was in Pisces. So it's really interesting. It shows up here. In the 9th house of mental expansion. So this is that higher education, and not just, and of course it rules universities and things like that, but I'm talking like higher education, meaning your higher self coming in. So let's take a look at what they have to say. So for those who are choosing red or action, your spiritual action is resurrect your dreams as if they came from God. Resurrect your dreams as if they came from God. I feel like we keep they really are trying to hammer this home. During times where energy feels constrictive, low, and dense, we have a tendency to focus on what's not working. And we focus on it with almost like a vengeance, almost like, if I force myself to watch this, I'm going to fix it by staring at it with laser beam eyes. And I've done this myself, and I've seen people do this, like laser beam eyes. Focus so much on, like, no. But what we have to remember is focus, where focus goes, energy grows. Right? So what we focus on is what we manifest. Therefore, we're being asked to resurrect. So remember, bring it back to the dreams, your dreams. Our dreams are what we want, as if it came from God. So the highest level that you're dreaming about. This means what you want to see happen. We have to remember that we have a choice in how we focus. We can either focus on the problem or the solution. The more energy we give to either direction is what we're going to experience in our own life. So they're kind of hinting like, focus on solution, right? That's the focus. Spiritual action at this time. Get to the heart of your idealization of the philosophies and laws involved. Get to the heart of your idealization of philosophies and laws involved. So this, they're asking me to couple that with the last one, and they're saying that many times we won't let ourselves have what we want. We won't let ourselves have our dream because we can't rationally figure out how to make it happen, and maybe we have already set ideas or beliefs about what it's going to take for that to happen. So we practical ourselves to death. We practicalize everything to death, and we keep ourselves away from the manifesting of what we want because we don't see how do I get from point A to point Z? I don't see it. And this is where they would say, you need to quantum leap this, baby. You need to collapse time and move from point A to point B. So get to the heart of your idealization of the philosophies and laws involved. So idealization usually means that we're holding in high esteem maybe the laws and philosophies. Are we holding in high esteem laws and philosophies that are actually blocking us individually from manifesting? And that's just a question I have. And that's kind of like what I think they're asking is, if we are blocking our own manifestation because we can't rationally figure it out, are we idealizing something? Idealizing a set of laws or philosophies and giving that more power than what your heart's telling you it wants. So for me, that's kind of a contemplative point. If we're having trouble getting to that place of, this is the future I want to see, are we blocking ourselves from getting there? And just getting into that and asking those questions, right? We don't have to have answers. We don't have to know why. We just have to ask, and that opens the mind back up, and all that beautiful information that we need can come right in. Physical action, do or die. You must be a part of something overwhelming and do it in a big way. You must be part of something overwhelming and do it in a big way. Oh my gosh, this is so dramatic. It's so dramatic, but you can feel this, right? So, and this actually is part of that energy that's creating people, that this is actually part of the energy that's creating people to do an overexpenditure of their own energy right now. Well, let me ask a question. Can we do something? What's the biggest way we could do something? In the physical world or the non-physical world? Which one is bigger? Which one has limits? Which one's limitless? Which one can truly, I mean, they're both so overwhelming. And this is not, we have to get in touch inside with what actions we take. There are some of us who are the warriors on the ground, and there are some of us who are generating and holding space. And there's no wrong way to be. And it's definitely asking us to pick, get in there. So you take it how you're going to hear it, right? Get in there means if you're part of something overwhelming and you're going to do it in a big way, what does that feel like for you, right? It might mean that you are creating energetic fields around you and pulsing them out just like the earth does. That's something I like to do. I build up an energy and then I pulse it like a beautiful wave coming out from me. And this is what I teach people to do. We do it together, and it's beautiful and it's big and it creates beautiful shifts. Now, some people want to do this in a big way in the physical world, and we're here together, which means we work together. So hear that, how it affects you. Exactly. Hear that, how it affects you. When they say do or die, you must be part of something overwhelming and do it in a big way. However you're hearing that, whatever part you play, and you feel it already, that's what they're asking from us. For those of you who are choosing blue, both for outcome in Pluto in Pisces in the 9th house of mental expansion, spiritual outcome at this time is the need for control of spirituality to ultimately experience spiritual values. So the need for control of spirituality to ultimately experience spiritual values. To me, that says, so the one thing we can control, obviously, is ourselves. So what I feel is like we're being asked to hone that self-discipline. And again, in a gentle way, though, because self-discipline, some people can take that to like a real extreme. So it's in a gentle way, which means that we keep returning to spirituality to ultimately experience spiritual values. So come back to it again and again, especially come back to it when you feel like I've given this and nothing's happening. When you're on the precipice of giving up, come back again to it. Mental outcome, an obsession with trusting your psychic knowledge of long-range thinking or travels. This is, you guys hear this? Okay, this literally means, do you trust what you're creating? Do you trust the future you create? That's long-term, right? Like, we're not going to see it right away. Remember, what you see right now with your physical eyes is the past. And I know that one's a mind effort when you think about it, but hear me out. You're seeing the past, everything. The computer or the device that you're viewing this on, you bought it when? Today, right now? No, you bought it in the past. The time that I say this, that you hear it, there is a delay between us. It's the past. It's my past. The things that you see around, painted in the past, bought in the past, right? Needed in the past, right? Purchased so that you could have it now in the past. Everything you're looking at is something you've already created. It is done. It is not the new creation. The new creation lives completely in the non-physical world. Therefore, what is it going to require for you to experience it? If you have to wait, it's like ordering something from Amazon, right? Or any online shop. You place your order, but then you're going to have to wait. Now, you know, they got us comfy with Prime shipping and all that shit. But in reality, it takes a while, and so does manifestation. Which, if you go back to the last statement, it's coupling that with returning back to it again and again. Right, that's the discipline that they're being asked of us, and especially returning to it when you want to give up. When you want to give up. So one of the messages that came through the spirit circle yesterday was about how everyone's going to hit the wall. We're in a marathon. We're running, and usually at some point in a marathon, for every runner, they hit the wall where it's a mental block. But they simply don't think they can go any further. And it's the runner who understands that psychology, who prepares for that and is accepting of that knows how to move through it, which means that on the days where you really don't want to meditate, that's the perfect day to meditate. On the days where praying for anything seems ridiculous, that's the day to pray. On the day where you're about to give up on your idea of the future, that's the day to go there and be with it. It's not the easiest day, but it is the day that will make a difference. That's the day that makes a difference. And that's what they want us to know. The energy of September is not friendly. It's not the friendliest of energies that we can experience. But never forget that you're not alone. We're all in this together. We truly are in this together. We're going through it together. And even though each of us is on an individual journey, we're experiencing that same mountain at the same time. We're just taking different paths to get there. But we came as a group. We came for each other. Okay, I'm going to start. we came here for each other. We really did. We came for each other. And we didn't want our fellow beings to be alone at this really tough time, in this amazing, beautiful, crazy, wild, intense, ugly, breathtaking time. We did not want to leave each other alone. We couldn't walk that same path together, but we promised we would be there. Yeah. And when the majority of us remember that, it's going to be just breathtaking. It's going to be worth all the hard parts. It's going to be worth all the hard parts. So remember, we can't hang the expectation on someone else. My future isn't dependent on somebody else believing in it. My future depends on me believing in it, which is what they're telling us. Your future depends on you. Don't hang that expectation on someone else, because that's a recipe for disappointment. But if you can remember, we came here for each other, you will be that beautiful space that holds that memory for other people, and they will see it, and they won't know what they're looking at first. They'll be so like blown away, but then they will absorb that loving energy, and that will be the thing that lights them up. It'll wake them up and turn them on, and they'll remember, I came here for you. And this is this emotional stuff too, the highly emotional time. That's thanks to Pisces. Thanks a lot, Pisces. Anyway, it's an endurance energy right now, and there's a lot of confusion as people seek outside of themselves. Hey, straighten up, change your tune. My future is hanging on you, and we've got to take the responsibility back. No, my future depends on me. My vision of it, my holding that, me tuning into that, me magnetizing and calling it forward. That's all on me. And as more of us practice that, we don't have to be afraid of someone else magnetizing their future. It's not going to have that kind of impact on yours. So it's kind of like, stay on your own, eyes on your own paper. Like that's the message they're saying. Eyes on your own paper. Trust that works. Trust that works. So definitely this is a deep activation of faith during a heavy endurance energy time. All right, now the physical action or outcome, at this time is a power struggle resulting from the indecision of or about what is to be shared. Yeah. I mean, that's 2020. That's 2020 right now. And as we go further in, man, we're really going to be considering, is this worth it? Is it worth it to put it out there? There's definitely a lot of backlash for people sharing opinions on all sides, right? Sharing your point of view, your opinion, what you want to the world to be. Even if you're putting nice things out there, someone's like wants to tear that down and deconstruct it for you. So there's going to be this internal energy of like, especially when you get fired up about something, you're going to be like, and you're going to want to pick up your phone and start typing. And I learned last week that doing that definitely brings out some interesting characters out of the woodwork. So you got to think about that. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Did it help? Did it help you? Did it help someone else? Do you feel at peace? Will you feel at peace if you don't? These are good questions. Again, questioning ourselves is a great tool right now, and it's what the universe is asking us to do. When everything's moving in retrograde, that's all internal reevaluation, which means we just question. It's not right, it's not wrong. It's more like, why that choice? Tell me, why that choice? Why that behavior? What's that doing for you? Is it good? You like it? Okay, we'll keep it. No, yeah, that's embarrassed you a few times, huh? Okay, let's get rid of it. That's what's going on on the inside. So when they say a power struggle resulting from indecision of or about what is to be shared, that's kind of like an internal power struggle. And again, asking questions is one of the most powerful ways to get into alignment. And if we can ask that from a place of self-love and self-respect, so we're not judging ourselves, we're not being harsh or critical. The more we practice that within us, the easier it is to give that to others. And again, that's the person who's remembering, I came here for you. I came here for all of you. We all came here for each other. That's right. And it becomes this beautiful place of you learn grace. You embody grace. And grace becomes what you radiate. And what you're radiating, somebody's picking up. And it's it's a paying it forward situation. So I know that's kind of heavy. It's a heavy time, but again, we came here for each other. We will be here for each other, and we're all doing this together. And it is my honor and pleasure to provide support where I can, and at least the messages I'm getting, and hope that they can help smooth the path a little bit for each of you. So I love you all. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.